All right, it's not working. All right, so can somebody lead me in the right direction? I'll sit here after posting this in another group. Remote learning for my kid is not working whatsoever. Is there any homeschool companies anybody recommends where my child does not have to be in front of the computer? She has an IEP, so preferably something that won't affect that. I have sent emails and have made many phone calls and keep being told the same thing, that there is no other option for my daughter. She has a weak immune system, therefore I am not sending her to school for in-person and risking her getting sick with everything going on. And the remote learning is not going to work either. That you are in one of these. I don't know where you live, so that's one of the kickers, though. But quite frankly, it really wouldn't matter unless you live in a state where the governor's orders are somehow prohibiting your local school system from offering anything other than remote, and that would have to be in the health order, um, to where the school has some kind of viable excuse as to why they can't offer an array and offer a cadre of services that meet your child's needs. Okay, so let's start there. And I don't care what kind of an excuse that they're providing you. I'm getting excuses all over. Everywhere that we have offices, I'm hearing excuse after excuse after excuse. When in reality, if you were to really pinpoint what's going on, it's not excuses. Well, I mean, they are excuses, but it is a lack of creativity and a lack of interest in exploring anything more in depth. Now, why do I think that is? Well, I think that is because I believe a lot of the schools believe that they're going to be returning here relatively quickly. And if anybody knows anything about school calendars, uh, it's just an odd monster that everything is sort of tracked by holidays. And we're already midway through September. And there's a lot of schools that are doing virtual only that have already hit the mark that, well, we're going to do virtual only until the first 9 weeks. Well, hell, it's only a few weeks away in school terms. And you sit there and go, well, that's a long time for my child and my child's learning. True, but it's not a long time in government world. Have you guys ever watched that movie Interstellar, which, all right, all right, all right, has Matthew McConaughey in it and Murph and that entire movie where they're on the planet for like out of 15 minutes, and when they get back they've been gone because of the space-time continuum or whatever the plant has a different time. I'm just saying schools work that way. Okay, schools work that way. And what you believe as a parent, which is the reality, that your child, a day for your child, it goes on forever, as it did for all of us growing up. Or it seems like time just stood still when we were children. Well, as adults, time has sped up considerably, and but we don't ever put ourselves in our children's position and how they look at things, and also look at these windows of opportunity for developmental learning that they have during these critical years of high rates of maturation and growth. The schools just don't think that way. And they look at a school calendar and they will break it into these four chunks known as 9-week periods if they're on a 9-week system. And then they'll chart holidays. And that's how the school year goes. So after that first 9 weeks, guys, it's Thanksgiving's coming up. And then after that, forget the period between Thanksgiving and the Christmas break. Very rarely do things get done during that. A lot get done during that period because everybody's like, oh, the school year's about to end or the semester's about to end. And they kick the can for a lot of things into January. I can sit there and tell you, I've been doing this long enough and it just doesn't matter. That is the cycle that everybody gets into. and it negatively impacts. We'll put this COVID situation on top of it. It only exacerbates the situation because depending on what kind of model your school is on, virtual, hybrid, where they're back in session, but they're allowing parents to opt for virtual. And in your situation, you have a child that has immunal concerns, which a lot of parents do. And at that point, you just don't feel safe sending your child back, and you shouldn't. So in your situation, what can you do? You can press your school. They can absolutely do more. They can think outside the box. They can provide you something more tangible than worksheets that you have to do with your own child. Access to a variety of different programs, and there are different programs out there. And believe me, the comments, if the parents are paying attention to this particular post, you'll have a lot of different options for free resources that are out there that are geared for homeschool parents. Okay, and so yes, you can incorporate that, but with regards to holding your school accountable, I'm just telling you that you're on the right path in your suspicion that they're not being forthright with you. The other thing is because your child has immunal concerns, then I would recommend that you go and have that verified, if you haven't already, by your doctor, that your doctor doesn't recommend that your child return to a traditional school setting. And at that point, then I would take that back to your IEP team, and I would ask for homebound type services. Okay, not virtual service, homebound services. I have clients every year that take the virus out of the equation, take COVID out of the situation, that have medical needs, immunal issues to where the services have to come to them. And in that situation, then they need to provide somebody to come in and instruct your child, which can be done. So in that situation, that's what I would recommend for my clients now that have immunocompromised issues. But it's not necessarily that it's a threat of one person properly distanced and checked beforehand, which most schools are now in that habit to where they do the temperature checks and everything like that, to the point where somebody could come over that is not going to increase the risk to your child's health. And in that situation, you can get one-to-one or in-person services. That doesn't mean every day, because that's just not how homebound works. But could you, in a sense, get that 2 or 3 times a week to where your child is maintaining skills? Some of it's going to have to be independent, and then you can fill the gaps with these homeschool type programs that are out there that I'm sure parents are going to recommend in the comment section. But that's what I would recommend for you and any other parent that has an immune compromised child. Your situation's different than, let's say, a parent that has concerns sending their child back, or let's say somebody within the home other than the child with the IEP has immunal issues, and so therefore we can't send this child even though the child themselves doesn't have issues. In that situation, it's not, you can't demand homebound because the school is only responsible for the child, not concerned about whoever else is in the household. So that's where those virtual options exist, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the virtual options are appropriate in your situation, because your child is the one that is immunely compromised. And if there's a doctor's note to accompany that with regards to the recommendations, the school needs to treat that differently. And they need to approach it more from a mindset of providing homebound services, meaning your child needs those direct services in the home. But like I said, it's not going to be an hour for hour, same type of full-time program. The school is not obligated to provide you a full-time teacher in a situation like that. And I'm hearing grumblings and rumors that there are some parents out there that are making demands for full-time teachers, and devoted to your child in this situation, and that's just not a requirement. And there's, that's not how homebound works, and that's just not how this situation would unfold. FAPE is not necessarily a full school day 5 days a week, guys. Keep that in mind.